We hear you.
Alright, YouTubers, moving on. Things are starting to get interesting because Fantasy took another game, so that means that SK Telecom 1 is only one game away from the championship. BeSt can almost taste it. Of course, I wouldn't call BeSt the most clutch player in the world. Hello, OSL 2008. And BeSt is pretty much acting like he did before those games against July. He's just looking so nervous, just touching every part of his head that he can, and that's when you can tell that BeSt is getting really, really nervous because he knows this whole thing is pretty much on his shoulders. If BeSt loses this, we're going to go into an ace match, and quite possibly a super ace match. If Jaedong wins, you know it's going to be Jaedong for the ace match. Who else would Oz throw out at this point? Well, maybe Haya, I guess, just to surprise the other team, but you know it's probably going to be Jaedong. Jaedong is the clutch player, so let's see if BeSt can get this done. He has pretty good versus Terran, and Lomo has pretty good versus Protoss, but it's really hard to call between these two. I would put BeSt a little bit ahead of Lomo, just because Lomo, he hasn't been impressing me at all lately, really. He's been playing pretty bad StarCraft, so we'll see if he can redeem himself here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is on Shades of Twilight, the big 4-player map, and it is a Terran favored map. That is probably why they fielded Lomo on that map yesterday. But anyways, up here in purple at the 2 o'clock position we have BeSt. That means down at the 8 o'clock, and Teal, I think, was Lomo. Go Oz!
Wolf's throwing that in. Go Oz, go Oz, go Oz. For those of you wondering why there haven't been rabid, grappling of words, mincing of words, random insulting of each other's mothers and such between us, it's just, we want to try insulting each other, but it's like, feels weird. Like, I hate you, Nuke, but I don't. Don't want to insult your mother because I'm your friend. I don't want to, Oz. Yeah, we basically go into joking yo mama jokes, but they don't actually mean anything because they don't really sound real. So let's just talk about the StarCraft instead. And for any one of you who was really expecting a proper fist fight, I'm sorry. I really am. So let's see. Looking at this right from the, looking at the matchups. BeSt a favorite. You got to be a favorite. 4-player map, which means it's a macro-heavy map. Somebody accidentally ended up ripping their signs into pieces, but oh well. Or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, going for Gateway first. And looking at his matchups, he's 62% against Terran. I mean, he's not where he used to be, but he's still a damn good macro player. And on a 4-player map like this, you pretty much have to expect a macro game. And that's where I think BeSt definitely has an advantage. Meanwhile, Lomo going for his racks and refinery as well, so he's just going to go into standard there as well. Both players playing safe. BeSt just going to be able to kick his macro into gear as soon as he gets going, get a crap load of bases. I'm not going to count Lomo out completely because he hasn't been playing the best of StarCraft, but it's kind of like high in the regard that he can pull off a surprising win when he wants to. He's a very good versus Zerg player. He's unfortunate in that he didn't end up against Zerg player. Now Jaedong just sitting there looking immensely nervous. He doesn't even look like, come on, let's win this and field me in the ace match. He doesn't even look like he's looking, can this be over now, please? Can this be over? Can this be done? He just looks immensely tired, like he just wants this season to be done, to be over with. And seeing Jaedong look like that, I'm not really feeling very confident for Hwasong Oz, I gotta say.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, and it's kind of interesting that you brought up Jaedong looking tired, because Jaedong is in the OSL, he's in the MSL, he's doing very well in those tournaments, and he's pretty much has his whole team depending on him for this tournament as well. So Jaedong, if he gets through this month, he's probably just going to throw a hammock. He can use Haya and Lomo as the posts there, just throw a hammock between them and just take a snooze, man. You deserve it. Especially if he wins even one of those tournaments, if he wins the Pro League for his team here, if he wins the OSL or the MSL, I think it will be worth it moving up this far in all these tournaments. And it's very possible that Jaedong could set a record that no other pro gamer will ever ever come close to meeting, which is winning the Pro League for your team, winning the OSL and the MSL, all in the same month. It's probably not likely because there are a lot of factors there that go into this, especially considering Fantasy and Jaedong will have their OSL semifinals soon. And we all saw what Fantasy did to Jaedong yesterday. So that is working against Jaedong here. But yeah, Jaedong has a lot of factors against him. But yes, if he pulls out a win at any of those tournaments, I think it will be miraculous. He's been pushed to his limits. He always has bags under his eyes here. But it looks like BeSt going pretty standard here, going for his robotic facility. And he's going to probably try to get some Reaver harassment here. Actually, you know what? I think this would probably be for some early observers, just to try to make sure Lomo can't push with an early push with mines and just try to push into the main of BeSt. I've seen Stork go for this same kind of thing for the macro game. You get the observatory out first, you get your observers in the area, and then you don't have to worry about any kind of mine rush or anything like that. But looks like Lomo is preparing to take his natural expansion here. Since this is a Terran favored map, BeSt is probably going to have to do the same thing that Stork did to beat Sky High on this map. Just be very, very aggressive, go in with a lot of Dragoons. But yeah, he doesn't have enough Dragoons to push just yet. And the expansion coming down for Lomo here.
Second gateway alongside observatory coming up for BeSt. I'm assuming he's going to put down his natural expansion as soon as the first observer is out. It's kind of like the 2-gate observer into expansion. Then he just starts macroing up, get a crap load of Dragoons to start off with to counter possible vulture harassment. And then BeSt being BeSt is going to take another base and another base seamlessly. Just really beautifully how he often just flows into bases like all of a sudden, wait a minute, you had only 2 bases a second ago. Well, that was a second ago. Where'd you get the 3rd and 4th? It just popped up out of nowhere because I'm BeSt, and that is what I do. Engineering Bay coming now up for Lomo, so he's going to be able to get some turrets just in case that Reaver harassment is going to come through at the end. Well, the probe going to run and is going to spot the natural expansion and the tank and the Marines. There's the 6 tanks, one tank, 6 Marines, I'm sorry, and the first Vulture, but they're not going to be able to push out with observers into play. 1 Zealot and Dragoons blocking the ramps, so the Vulture's not going to be able to come out, get the scouting information, while Citadel Dune actually being put down now by BeSt alongside his natural expansion, so he's going to be getting speed. We're going to see how quickly he decides to go for Templar tech, which is going to now focus on a larger Zealot number now that he has a decent number of Dragoons in play, and no Vulture harassment imminent from Lomo, so he can just safely switch to Zealot production. Machine shop spinning, I'm assuming that's for tank siege at this point, because he did go for mines first, just planting mines all over the place just to prevent drops. See all mines behind the middle lines just in case the River decides to pop down. Missile turrets coming up now to just help himself defend. Lomo gonna be playing defensive to start off with. He definitely wants to prevent any sort of harassment from coming up. That's definitely what he wants to do. It's kind of reminding me just a little bit of how Iris played against BeSt, just to prevent BeSt from doing any sort of harassment. He put down a crap load of turrets, crap load of mines, and really did not allow BeSt to get the harassment he really wanted to, prevented recalls from being as effective as they would have been. No, did a lot of stuff. Now, first Armory coming up, so doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's smart. Sounds like smart commentator language. Temple Archives and Stargate coming up, while Lomo is indeed doing some stuff. Extra factories coming alongside, so we are going to be seeing upgrades, a lot of factories, both players macroing up and playing, while BeSt is getting his two base Stargates, so he's kind of mimicking BeSt in that regard, going for that a lot, while Lomo getting his 5th factory up, so he's going to macro like a beast here, also getting Academy going for scan purpose, so he's just also getting a bunch of production going on his 2 bases. So this has the making of a pretty large, exciting macro game.
Yeah, Lomo's being pretty sneaky here with his mines. As you'll notice, he's putting mines behind all of his bases right here just to try to keep any kind of Reaver harassment from happening, I think. But as the game drags on, if BeSt is going for Arbiters instead of Carriers, that will definitely help Lomo, because any kind of a recall will be hurt by the mines. If BeSt recalls right into mines, that would definitely hurt him. And this is kind of a timing attack from Lomo. He put down a lot of factories. He's going to try to push through this with his Marines and a bunch of tanks. Tanks are very good against Dragoons, but it looks like BeSt has plenty of Dragoons on the ground to fight this off, I think. Yeah, it's a lot of Dragoons. A lot of Dragoons. So even with a lot of factories like this, it looks like Lomo's already in trouble. Besiege range coming up. BeSt is still not backing off here. He's going to try to take out these tanks. I'm not sure why. And being pushed back, lost a lot of Dragoons there that I really don't think he should have lost, but he has a Dark Templar in here now. That was his plan, to keep the tanks busy while he comes in with the Dark Templar. I'm not sure if Scan is ready for Lomo or not. I don't think it is, so he's going to have to use mines to get rid of the Dark Templar. He drags a few mines into one of the Dark Templar, but yeah, he's going to have to retreat. There's no way he can fight off these Dark Templar without Scan.